Okay, folks, we just thought we'd put together this explainer video about decompression, or the decompression table that you'll find in ChiroLife, because I didn't even know it existed. So we're sort of going to unpack why to use it, and also what you'd need to do as far as your own maintenance and how to get the best out of it, really. So I'll just start off by telling everyone about how I came about it. I was had a, I don't know how to explain it, a floppy foot. my foot was floppy.
It was dropped. Yeah,
a dropped foot, and I had pain in the foot, and funnily enough, I just saw my reflection in a glass door, and I was walking funny. And I've been going to ChiroLife now for 15 years, maybe more.
It's a while. Yeah.
So I just thought it'd be a matter of a few adjustments around the ankle area. But it turns out it was something different. So I mean, if you want to explain what was going on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you'd irritated the disc in your low back. It was down at the belt line. There's a nerve that goes down there. It essentially runs the muscle, lifts your foot up, and because that nerve was squashed, you couldn't control your foot anymore. And part of that was that you start to feel pain as a result of it. It's really late. It's a late thing, so you must, at that point, you've done something to really screw it up. But we have the technology.
Yeah, we can rebuild. Steve Austin. So yeah, I wasn't aware of the decompression table. I just assumed that we would do some adjustments and everything would be terrific. But how it was explained to me was the disc was compressed, but I thought, well, can I hang upside down like a bat to take the pressure off it? But that doesn't work. Why doesn't that work?
Well, yeah, because you get to a point when you've irritated the disc that it becomes a vicious cycle of the nerve being irritated. It stops talking to the muscles. Muscles without nerve supply get really tight, and they are very reactive. They if you stretch them, they get tighter.
Yeah.
And so if you hang upside down like a bat, what the research shows is that the disc actually gets so tight that you can't get any water back into it, which is what you need to get a disc better.
Yeah.
So yeah, hanging upside down is not your go-to.
Yeah. So fundamentally, I was introduced to the compression table, strapped down,
Yes,
and again, my interpretation of what I was told is it is actually stretching you, but in a manner that tricks your body into believing it's not being stretched. So it is taking the pressure off the disc.
Yeah.
And maybe explain why it's necessary to sort of invest some time and do a program on the table versus just doing some adjustments, because there's a fair bit going on with the disc, and we had a conversation the other day when we were planning to do this video where you were drawing diagrams of a disc, and what I took from that conversation is a disc is a living, I don't know whether it's a breathing thing, but it's a living, each disc is living, and it needs hydration and it needs nutrients.
Yeah.
But it also creates waste.
That's right.
Your discs have to have a poo.
Yeah. They do. They poo and pee just like you do.
Yeah, and you gave a great explanation. Maybe tell us about that with the sponge analogy.
Yeah, okay. Well, discs, they have no blood supply in the centre of them. People often think of them as a bit of rubber or vulcanised rubber between the bones.
Bit of old tyre.
Yeah, just to keep the bones apart. But they're actually alive. But they don't. The only way they get nutrition is by the sponging action, or the moving of the proper moving of the joint, I should say, not just movement. And it's like getting stuff in and out of a disc. It's like having a sponge with suds in it, and you're trying to clear those suds out. You can squeeze it once and suds come out, but you've still got suds coming out between your fingers.
Yeah.
You put it back under the water and you squeeze it multiple times, and eventually all those suds come out.
Yeah.
So that's like getting the waste out. You have to squeeze and relax and squeeze and relax and get more water in. And the same thing holds for getting oxygen and nutrition into the disc. It goes in the same way as it comes out, by squeezing and relaxing, but that has to happen regularly. It's not quite the same as you breathing. You breathe, 16 times a minute, thereabouts. Your disc only breathes a lot slower than that. And so you just need to have that sponging action to bring those nutrients in so the disc can actually breathe, get energy, poop.
Yeah. So what's the difference between, because you made a thing of saying proper movement with the disc. What is proper movement and what is not proper movement? Like what sort of movement do you need for this to work properly?
Yeah, for a disc will normally move when the nerve isn't irritated. It'll move normally, especially when you lie down at night. If you've got enough water in, if you've actually been drinking enough fluid, your discs are designed to pull water in overnight as you just gently move in bed, because you don't lie perfectly still. And they will suck water in, and that helps to make the disc expand and become strong. It pushes the bones apart, it creates space for the nerves. That's normal, the normal process. But when you get irritated, when the disc stops moving properly, the joints get stuck for one of them, a number of reasons. If that happens for too long, the muscles, because they lose nerve supply, become irritable, and they clamp the joint shut so it can't move. The table has a computerized algorithm to cause the disc to start moving again. So essentially, when you're getting on a table to start with, and your disc is at a point where you may have already got an MRI, or you've got the pain in the leg, the foot drop, or numbness, all those sorts of symptoms, we're essentially doing CPR on the disc. It's like like the CPR, the initial thing. Maybe even get the pedals out, clear, to get that disc to actually start breathing again. Because if you don't get enough movement, the cells inside the disc will start to die. The disc will then sort of collapse and start to leak away. And then it becomes, if you don't sort that out, if you don't stop that, you end up going down the path of surgery being your only option. And we're just trying to get in there and stop that from happening.
Well, that's you bring me to my next point about doing decompression versus surgery, and like we all understand that he who is good with a hammer thinks everything is a nail. So if you're a surgeon, that's your number one option. But when you were doing your diagrams the other day, you mentioned that there were like, I'm not sure what you called them, but there was like 15 layers of something that
annulus.
That's the one that creates the structure and holds the disc, gives it its strength, I guess.
Lamination,
Yeah. So they're laminations. Good word. And what happens when you've got a bulging disc, as I understand it, some of those laminations might be shaved off. So a healthy disc has probably got 15 lamination.
15 to 20, yeah.
And if it's bulging, and they do a discectomy or whatever they
sometimes they shave it, and then you might lose 5 or 7 or 10 of those laminations. So then
what then is the downside of that if you lose some of the structure of your disc?
Well, broadly two things. One is the disc is then weaker, structurally weaker, because you've shaved bits off it. That just follows sort of, I suppose, directly. And the other is that the disc is then scarred, so it then causes the disc to move poorly, because then scars tend to tighten and contract over time. So that means that point in the disc can become a focus of movement, speaking about it from a joint perspective, it can become a pivot, and that pivot actually then can cause the disc over time to fail. And that's why a lot of disc surgeries end up with people going back under the knife 5 or 6 years later, or eventually having the disc completely removed.
So my experience with the decompression table, I think I was on there twice a week for, was it 12 weeks?
Yeah, but at that time we were doing the programs twice in over 12, but we're
different now.
Bit different. We're running a bit more intense because it gets better result at 3 times over 10.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
So they're showing a better result.
Yeah, but I mean, the only reason I brought it up is it was something that my experience was that it was quite severe and debilitating, and I started to experience some improvement probably after 4 weeks or something like that. But after the 12 weeks, I haven't had it, nothing has reoccurred at all. Like it's just absolutely back to normal. My son-in-law, who's a tradie, had really bad pain in his back. Did he get an X-ray or something like that?
Had an X-ray, yeah, absolutely.
But were you sure or not whether it was a bulging disc, or it was just probably you can't know unless you do an MRI?
Yeah, the MRI is like a gold standard. There are clinical tests you can do to indicate disc or not disc. There's functional tests we do that can also indicate that. He showed a disc strain in the testing that we did, but we hadn't got the MRI at that point. But he was in the process of, if he didn't have one, he was in the process of creating one. And so either way, you need to restore normal movement.
The only reason I bring that up is I think that there's a philosophical point that we've got to unpack about this, because it's like you go on the table, there is some adjustments that need to be done over that period of time as well.
Yeah, with chiropractic adjustments.
Is there homework?
Yes, there's homework. There's learning new ways of controlling your abdominal muscles, particularly, and also controlling them.
I remember that.
Yeah, controlling them in connection with other muscles. A lot of people do an exercise lying down and never transition that into learning how to use it when they're standing up. So consequently, it doesn't help. So there's exercises, there's nutrition. You need to provide the right nutrition. Some people's diets, without them being aware of it, are inadequate for what they need to heal. So you need to supply that. We will use laser at times, laser beams, because, and the reason for that is
Star Trek.
Yeah, that's right. We have one of the most powerful lasers for this purpose in Tasmania, actually. And the point of it is it actually gets into the energy factories of the cell, and causes the cell to rapidly produce energy rather than just slowly produce energy, because energy limits all processes. So that helps you to heal quicker. What else do we have? Chiropractic adjustments, the hill table, the nutrition, laser, and my brain's gone completely blank. Hydration, yes. Yes, you need hydration, because you are 70% water. And we just encourage a lot of people who have disc problems chronically actually just don't drink enough. So they've already put themselves in the back foot before they start.
The philosophical point that I think needs to be made, though, is I was speaking to our son-in-law yesterday. One of the reasons, well, when he first noticed the pain in his back, as he went to pick up his son, he was only like 7 months old. Ouch! Took his breath away, couldn't work, all of that sort of stuff. He thought that it was recommended he have surgery straight away, all that sort of stuff, and I just said, well, maybe you should explore ChiroLife first, which he's done, and that was maybe 3 or so 4 weeks ago, maybe. And I was talking to him yesterday, and his words were, "I'm healed," and I was kind of skeptical about that. And we were talking about that before we pressed the go button on the camera. Was that he feels better, so that a lot of the pain has gone, but I think it's important to understand, just because the pain has gone, it doesn't mean that the problem is solved, and you need to sort of flick to a maintenance mindset rather than pain means there's a problem, pain's gone, no more problem. That's not the right way of thinking about it.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, a lot of people, have that way of approaching most things in their life, and I mean, as I often say to people, if you apply that approach in your relationship, you'll end up with no relationship. If you only act on pain, you will often be in a lot of pain. And it's an unfortunate reality. That's just what people experience in their relationships, because they only respond when things hurt. Your body, the problem with your body is that most of the problems that go on your body you don't know about. You can't feel it, and only when there's enough built up, or at least enough tissue breakdown and enough damage that's built up, then you start to get a symptom only then. So if you only push it just below that threshold where you're feeling pain, then you're always going to be in pain.
Sort of just before we wind this up, can you maybe let us know what sort of symptoms or what sort of problems somebody could be experiencing that the decompression table would work for versus just normal chiropractic adjustment?
Yeah, well, I mean, usually people who are coming in for, or at least who will be a good candidate for this, will already have probably gotten an MRI. That could be a symptom as well.
Yeah.
Because if it's that bad that you're going to get to seek those sorts of interventions or those sorts of evaluations, it means that you're already aware that it's a pretty significant problem. But you said particular symptoms. Well, like you mentioned, foot drop is a really clear sign. Sometimes you'll have a muscle of pain in your backside or your leg, where if you use it, go for a run or something, you'll feel like somebody's kicked you in the butt 50 times, and so you've got this. Every time you use it, it ends up feeling bruised, and that's not normal. You can end up with cramping. You could have people have a sometimes really disturbed sleep. Like one lady came in to see me and she hadn't been sleeping well for 2 years. Wow. On the table for 3 weeks, and she's back to normal sleeping now. What else? There's multiple signs, but typically it can be pain that goes straight down the back of your leg, but the other discs that are higher in your back can have pain that goes down the front of your leg. So it's really something that needs to be evaluated to be able to determine if that's the direction you need to go. Yeah.
But I suspect anyone watching this video would probably have already had the conversation with you, and the purpose of this video is just really to help you understand how the decompression table works. Sort of shift your mindset around a little bit to make sure you get the absolute best result by just following doctor's orders and like doing the 2 or 3 sessions, whatever's recommended, and do the exercises because I know what people are like because I'm one of them. You kind of just think that the chiropractic or the table or whatever will fix it, but there's other stuff that you need to do to support the work that's being done on the table. So you've got to do the homework. I
suppose that's something we'll talk about in another video. On more of a philosophical approach to life. I just thumped your mic too.
Doesn't matter.
Dunk.
So there you go, folks. Hopefully that helped you to understand the power of the decompression table. Obviously, got any questions, just ask one of the team at ChiroLife, and that's all really. I hope this was beneficial. We'll see you in another video.